I'm a very old member of Stoke Newington. I'm Greta, and I shall be 93 next month. Please God, let me live that long. I loved living in Stoke Newington. I was born there. I was born and brought up in the same house, which had been in my family for generations, and I loved every minute of it. I had a wonderful childhood. I went to a lovely school. I had some very, very good friends. I just loved it. I was very sad when I left, and I've always had that yen to go back, which is just not possible. But I think of it very happy thoughts. I've got nothing bad to think about in Stoke Newington. When I should have sort of started to think about going to university, I disappointed my father here because I met my husband in Stoke Newington Town Hall, and eventually we got married. And that's roughly my growing up. Very, very happy childhood. There was nothing about Stoke Newington you could object to or say was horrible or nasty. It was a lovely place to be.
But then you left for a while, didn't you, when you moved to
Enfield? That was when I got married, yes. We thought we would spread our wings, and we bought a house in Enfield, and it made me quite ill. I couldn't stand it. I was not myself at all, so...
Then you went back to Chesholm Road.
I came back to Stoke Newington and bought. My mother was still living in 65 Church Street. They couldn't leave that house. They held on to it for so long.
But it was your parents that ran the shop, wasn't it?
No, not my parents, darling. No, it's my grandparents. My grandparents. That's where I've got pictures. Unfortunately, the earlier pictures have been lost. You know, they were burnt when we had that fire here. We hung on to that house. They all hung on to it. They all loved it there. Do you know, we didn't have a bathroom for donkey's years. But
when you think 3 families, no bathroom, one inside toilet.
We had a great big. You could lay out in that bath, and it used to hang in the garden. Yeah. And twice a week we used to have that in front of the fire in the winter. Mum would have a roaring fire there, and I used to love it. I loved that bath in the living room.
But it was crazy when you think all those families and no bathroom.
But nobody had a bathroom.
Who could ever live?
We had more than a lot of people. A lot of people didn't have anywhere near as much as we had. I loved it. You know, Clissold Park was like a second home to me.
It was a nice place.
We spent so much time. I was taken there in the. I think I've still got some of the pictures somewhere. Pictures of in the pram when my mother took me to Clissold Park. We used to go there, as I said to you, dancing. We used to, as a kid, we used to go picnics in the afternoon, and in the paddling pool we used to take the dog, and the dog used to go in the paddling pond, and there was a boating lake there where we could have a boat out. It was, to me, it was everything that you could possibly want. Yeah, I'll tell you what the shops were like. We had some nice shops there. Going back to 65, facing us on the corner, that was, I'm just trying to think, what was the name of that road? The first, it was the less used.
You're talking before my time then.
No, we had, there was a baker's on one, a very nice baker's. We used to get hot bread and rolls there of a morning. There was a baker's, and then there was a removal person. As facing the house faces, Dr. Wasserstein had that house. That was the last house in the row. Then there was the removal people. Then you crossed over this little narrow turning. I can't think of the name of that one now. And there was a very nice baker's on the corner. Then there was a shop that sold umbrellas and raincoats and things. And somewhere along there was Iris Markovich's husband had the barber shop. You got to the bottom of Church Street and there was Beavis's right opposite, which was the most beautiful glass and china shop. And then you had a public house there, which that's never interested me. But then there was Woolworths, there was Marks and Spencer's, then there was Dyson's, there was Bendel's. These were all lovely shops, all I can remember all those shops along that high street, and on a Saturday it was alive. It was so busy, and you had the little Sainsbury's where you had to stand while they patted your butter and weighed it up and wrapped it up for you. It was so. It was just lovely. It was so nice. Saturday night was eventful. You used to do your shopping so late at night.
Yeah, well.
I remember those air raids quite well. We used to go under the stairs. We used to shelter under the stairs, but then that wasn't sufficient. So that was when we started going to the air raid shelter. We used to go every night. We used to take our food and our stuff, and off we'd go as soon as it was dusk. We spent every night, every morning when we came out of there. It was heartbreaking. You never seen such utter destruction. Overnight. This was every night. You couldn't hear anything down there when you were in that shelter. You were totally unaware of what was going on. And you go out and there'd be all the wardens in the streets out there, looking and sorting out. And that was where number 3 Depot one morning. There was nothing there. Our house had gone. Fortunately, Church Street wasn't too bad.
I went to William Patton, which was a great school, really, really nice. And I used to stay with my aunt. If my mum was working, I'd stay with my aunt in 65. So that was where I spent most of my first part of my childhood, didn't I? That's where I was brought up, really.
See, the family never split up. We're always stuck together. The aunts looked after the children, if the mothers wanted to go to work. It was just a very close-knit, and we weren't the only ones. That was the way it was, very close-knit communities.
I can remember it very clearly, I must say. It would always stick, I would say.
You had a happy time there?
Yeah, always. I would always remember it. That's why I was drawn back.
And we've always had family around us all the time. We all looked after one another.
Everybody lived there. The whole family lived there.
And the aunts looked after the kids if we wanted to go to work. There was always somebody there to take care of whatever you wanted. You didn't have to go looking for somebody to help you. There was always help there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. When I was growing up, it was quite nice. I mean, I went to, there was Stanford Hill Club, and there was Victoria Club. That I used to go to all of them. That was nice.
Yeah, so when it was safe and it was...
Yeah, the Royal at Tottenham, do you remember that? That was, used to do all those things.
The Ambassador and the Vogue. And then they used to play bingo in the Ambassador.
Yeah, that's right.
I remember my mother went to bingo at the Ambassador.
And as I say, I used to go to the clubs and, that sort of thing, but I'm just trying to remember. I mean, I met my husband when I was 16, and then we started to go to places probably more outside Stoke Newington, because my husband came from the Romford area, and so we would go further out to things really. But I said, when I was going to school, going to school, I remember, say, going to all the clubs and that round Stoke Newington. It was always a nice place really to go, I would say, but I always do.
There was never a safety issue for youngsters going out. Teenagers, you could let them go out, and you really felt they were safe. That I don't know when that altered.
Well, later on, I think that altered everywhere, didn't it, Mum? I mean, it's. There was lots of different people moving in that,
There was a lot of undesirable people coming to Stoke Newington, to be honest with you.
There were some very
and it then got to the stage where if you had youngsters, you didn't want them to go out alone.
So I got married 73, and really Stoke Newington was not. That's when I started saying to you all, it was
the beginning of the beginning of the end, wasn't it? But like an ostrich, I buried my head.
Different sort of people had moved in then. It was being taken over, by different sort of people really, and it wasn't.
It was so gradual that really, for us as a family, it wasn't that noticeable, was it? Because we'd never relied a lot on outside.
All I know is when I got married, probably if I'd have married a few years earlier, I would have thought of living in Stoke Newington, whereas by the time it got to 72, 73, you wanted to go, because it just wasn't, and that was nothing to do with the cost, because you could have bought a house in Stoke Newington there cheaper than, say, coming to Gants Hill or something like that. Property was cheaper there.
I honestly can't remember bad deterioration where we were.
It wasn't good, Mum.
It was slow.
It was a big deterioration, really. It was. But that's why you wouldn't have moved out otherwise.
But as Amira is saying, did you notice a lot of empty shops? And
I think I noticed it more when I moved away. When I moved away, then you'd come back and you'd think...
I didn't want to notice the deterioration because I didn't want to move. Neither of us wanted to move. We really did not want to come out of Stoke Newington. Really, with hindsight, we should have maybe moved houses and gone some. I don't know. Maybe we'd have stayed then.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't, Mum.
I didn't like it here when I came.
You wouldn't.
I didn't care.
You're thinking back on it. Not with rose-coloured, well, yeah,
no,
really, but it was not good.
If it wasn't for my job, I had a very good job and I was very interested in what I did. I don't think I'd have stuck it. I don't think I'd have come here in the first place. And here I am. How many years later?
Well, you've been here
I'm
now
still here.
40 years. Yeah. Do you know, we didn't go back for years. Once Mum and Dad moved, there was nothing to go back for. So.
It was Neil that was the beginning
years
of
us. We never went anywhere near the place, and then for some reason, I think perhaps it was when you were starting to grow up, Neil, wasn't it?
It was Neil that
we went. And I thought, my goodness, what the people here are so different. I mean, it changed beyond.
How many times did we go back there, Neil?
Saying, oh, house prices have gone through the roof. And I think then I went back to see, well, why was it so expensive now? And then it was a totally different sort of people living.
All these little shops that had opened, they were lovely. It was really nice.
No area could have done a bigger circle.
No big shops at all. All these little interesting shops. And I remember we went into a little cafeteria to have something to eat and drink. And it was nice, wasn't it, Neil? I must go back again and have another look because I really.
When I went, a little while back, it was interesting.
Do you know? It seems like yesterday. Do you know? It's when I think about it, it seems so recent that you can't believe all those years.
No, but as an area though, it is fascinating how it has done such a. I don't know another. I mean. Maybe this area will do a similar thing.
We're hoping.